दक्षिणामूर्तये मह्यं श्रियं मेधां प्रज्ञां प्रयच्छ स्वाहा। ओम नमो भगवते दक्षिणामूर्तये मह्यं श्रियं मेधां प्रज्ञां प्रयच्छ स्वाहा. So, why don't we practice? You can just follow after me. We'll do all the 108 names of Dakshinamurti. Om Omkara Simha Sarvendraya Namaha. Omkara Simha Sarvendraya. Om Omkarodhyana Kokilaya Namaha. Omkarodhyana Kokilaya Namaha. Om Omkara Nida Shukaraje Namaha. Om Omkara Nida Shukaraje Namaha. Om Omkararanya Kunjaraya Namaha. Om Omkararanya Kunjaraya Namaha. Om Nagaraja Sutta Janaye Namaha. Om Nagaraja Sutta Janaye Namaha. Om Nagaraja Nijalayaya Namaha. Om Nagaraja Nijalayaya Namaha. Om Navamanikyamadhyaya Namaha. Om Navamanikyamadhyaya Namaha. Om Navachandrashikhamanaye Namaha. Om Navachandrashikhamanaye Namaha. Om Nanditashesha Maunindraya Namaha. Om Nanditashesha Maunindraya Namaha. Om Nandi Chadimadeshikaya Namaha. Om Nandi Chadimadeshikaya Namaha. Om Moha Nalasudhasaraya Namaha. Om Moha Nalasudhasaraya Namaha. Om Moha Ambujasudhakaraya Namaha. Om Moha Ambujasudhakaraya Namaha. Om Mohandakarataranaye Namaha. Om Mohandakarataranaye Namaha. Om Mohotpalanabhomanaye Namaha. Om Mohotpalanabhomanaye Namaha. Om Bhakti-jnanabdhishitanshave Namaha. Om Bhakti-jnanabdhishitanshave Namaha. Om Bhakta-jnana-trinalayaya Namaha. Om Bhakta-jnana-trinalayaya Namaha. Om Bhaktamboja-sahasranshave Namaha. Om Bhaktamboja-sahasranshave Namaha. Om Bhakta-keki-ghana-ghanaya Namaha. Om Bhakta-keki-ghana-ghanaya Namaha. Om Bhakta-kairavarakendave Namaha. Om Bhakta-kairavarakendave Namaha. Om Bhakta-koka-divakaraya Namaha. Om Bhakta-koka-divakaraya Namaha. Om Gajananadi-sampujyaya Namaha. Om Gajananadi-sampujyaya Namaha. Om Gajacharmojjwalakritaye Namaha. Om Gajacharmojjwalakritaye Namaha. Om Gangadhavala-divyangaya Namaha. Om Gangadhavala-divyangaya Namaha. Om Ganga-pankila-sajjataya Namaha. Om Ganga-pankila-sajjataya Namaha. Om Gaganambar-samvitaya Namaha. Om Gaganambar-samvitaya Namaha. Om Gaganamuktamurthajaya Namaha. Om Gaganamuktamurthajaya Namaha. Om Vadanabjajitabjashriye Namaha. Om Vadanabjajitabjashriye Namaha. Om Vadanenduspuritishaya Namaha. Om Vadanenduspuritishaya Namaha. Om Vardanaika-nipunaya Namaha. Om Vardanaika-nipunaya Namaha. Om Varavino-jwalatkaraya Namaha. Om Varavino-jwalatkaraya Namaha. Om Vanvasa-samullasaya Namaha. Om Vanvasa-samullasaya Namaha. Om Vanaviraikalolupaya Namaha. Om Vanaviraikalolupaya Namaha. Om Tejaf-bhunjaganakaraya Namaha. Om Tejaf-bhunjaganakaraya Namaha. ॐ तेजसामपि भासकाय नमः तेजसामपि भासकाय नमः ॐ विनेयानां तेजःप्रदाय नमः विनेयानां तेजःप्रदाय नमः ॐ तेजोमय निजाश्रमाय नमः तेजोमय निजाश्रमाय नमः ॐ दमितानङ्गसङ्ग्रामाय नमः ॐ दरहासजिताङ्गनाय नमः दरहासजिताङ्गनाय नमः ॐ दयारससुधासिन्धवे नमः दयारससुधासिन्धवे नमः ॐ दरिद्रधनुषेवधये नमः दरिद्रधनुषेवधये नमः ॐ क्षीरेन्दुस्फटिकाकाराय नमः क्षीरेन्दुस्फटिकाकाराय नमः ॐ क्षीरेन्दुमुकुटोज्ज्वलाय नमः क्षीरोमुकुटोज्ज्वलाय नमः ॐ क्षीरोपहाररसिकाय नमः क्षीरोपहाररसिकाय नमः ॐ क्षिप्रैश्वर्यफलप्रदाय नमः ॐ क्षिप्रैश्वर्यफलप्रदाय नमः ॐ नानाभरणमुग्धं ॐ नानाभरणमुग्धाङ्गाय नमः नानाभरणमुग्धाङ्गाय नमः ॐ नारीसम्मोहनाकृतये नमः नारीसम्मोहनाकृतये नमः ॐ नादब्रह्मरसास्वादिने नमः नादब्रह्मरसास्वादिने नमः ॐ नागभूषणभूषिताय नमः नागभूषणभूषिताय नमः ॐ मूर्तिनिन्दितकन्दर्पाय नमः मूर्तिनिन्दितकन्दर्पाय नमः ॐ मूर्तामूर्तजगद्वपुषे नमः ॐ मूर्तामूर्तजगद्वपुषे नमः ॐ मूलाज्ञानतमो भानवे नमः मूलाज्ञानतमो भानवे नमः ॐ मूर्तिमत्कल्पपादपाय नमः मूर्तिमत्कल्पपादपाय नमः ॐ तरुणादित्यसङ्काशाय नमः तरुणादित्यसङ्काशाय नमः ॐ तन्त्रीवादनतत्पराय नमः तन्त्रीवादनतत्पराय नमः ॐ तरुमूलैकनिलयाय नमः तरुमूलैकनिलयाय नमः ॐ तप्तजाम्बूनदप्रभाय नमः तप्तजाम्बूनदप्रभाय नमः ॐ तत्त्वपुस्तोलसत्पानये नमः तत्त्वपुस्तोलसत्पानये नमः ॐ तपनोडुपलोचनाय नमः ॐ यमसन्नुतसत्कीर्तये नमः यमसन्नुतसत्कीर्तये नमः ॐ यमसंयमसंयुताय नमः यमसंयमसंयुताय नमः ॐ यतिरूपधराय मौनिने नमः यतिरूपधराय मौनिने नमः ॐ यतीन्द्रोपास्य विग्रहाय नमः ॐ यतीन्द्रोपास्य विग्रहाय नमः ॐ मन्दारहाररुचिराय नमः ॐ मन्दारहाररुचिराय नमः ॐ मदनायुतसुन्दराय नमः मदनायुतसुन्दराय नमः ॐ मन्दस्मितलसत्वक्त्राय नमः मन्दस्मितलसत्वक्त्राय नमः ॐ मधुराधरपल्लवाय नमः ॐ मञ्जीरमञ्जुपादाब्जाय नमः ॐ मणिपट्टोलसत्कटये नमः मणिपट्टोलसत्कटये नमः ॐ हस्ताङ्कुरितचिन्मुद्राय नमः हस्ताङ्कुरितचिन्मुद्राय नमः ॐ हठयोगपरोत्तमाय नमः हठयोगपरोत्तमाय नमः ओम हंस जप्याक्षमालाढ्याय नमः। ओम हमसे द्वाराध्य पादुकाय नमः। हमसे द्वाराध्य पादुकाय नमः। ओम मेरु श्रृंग तटोल्लासाय नमः। मेरु श्रृंग तटोल्लासाय नमः। ओम मेघ श्याम मनोहराय नमः। ओम मेधांकुरालवालाग्र्याय नमः। मेधांकुरालवालाग्र्याय नमः। ओम मेधापक्वफलद्रुमाय नमः। मेधापक्वफलद्रुमाय नमः। ओम धार्मिकांतर्गुहावासाय नमः। धार्मिकांतर्गुहावासाय नमः। ओम धर्ममार्ग प्रवर्तकाय नमः। धर्ममार्ग प्रवर्तकाय नमः। ओम धामत्रय निजारामाय नमः। धामत्रय निजारामाय नमः। ओम धर्मोत्तम मनोरथाय नमः। धर्मोत्तम मनोरथाय नमः। ओम प्रबोधोद्गार दीप श्रिये नमः। प्रबोधोद्गार दीप श्रिये नमः। ओम प्रकाशित जगत्त्रयाय नमः। ओम प्रज्ञा चंद्र शिला चंद्राय नमः। प्रज्ञा चंद्र शिला चंद्राय नमः। ओम प्रज्ञा मणिवराकराय नमः। प्रज्ञा मणिवराकराय नमः। ओम ज्ञानांतरभासात्मने नमः। ज्ञानांतरभासात्मने नमः। ओम ज्ञातृज्ञादिविदुरगाय नमः। ज्ञातृज्ञादिविदुरगाय नमः। ओम ज्ञान ज्ञाद्वैत दिव्यांगाय नमः। ज्ञान ज्ञाद्वैत दिव्यांगाय नमः। ओम ज्ञातृज्ञादिकुलागताय नमः। ज्ञातृज्ञादिकुलागताय नमः। ओम प्रपन्न पारिजाताग्र्याय नमः। प्रपन्न पारिजाताग्र्याय नमः। ओम प्रणतार्थ्यब्धिवाडवाय नमः। प्रणतार्थ्यब्धिवाडवाय नमः। ओम भूतानां प्रमाणभूताय नमः। भूतानां प्रमाणभूताय नमः। ओम प्रपंचहितकारकाय नमः। प्रपंचहितकारकाय नमः। ओम यत्तत्त्वमसि संवेद्याय नमः। यत्तत्त्वमसि संवेद्याय नमः। ओम यक्षगेयात्मवैभवाय नमः। यक्षगेयात्मवैभवाय नमः। ओम यज्ञादिदेवतामूर्तये नमः। यज्ञादिदेवतामूर्तये नमः। ओम यजमानवपुर्धराय नमः। यजमानवपुर्धराय नमः। ओम छत्राधिपति विश्वेशाय नमः। छत्राधिपति विश्वेशाय नमः। ओम छत्रसामर सेविताय नमः। छत्रसामर सेविताय नमः। ओम छंदशास्त्रादिनिपुणाय नमः। छंदशास्त्रादिनिपुणाय नमः। ओम छलजात्यादिदूरगाय नमः। छलजात्यादिदूरगाय नमः। ओम स्वाभाविकसुखैकात्मने नमः। स्वाभाविकसुखैकात्मने नमः। ओम स्वानुभूतिरसोददये नमः। स्वानुभूतिरसोददये नमः। ओम स्वराज्य संपदध्यक्षाय नमः। स्वराज्य संपदध्यक्षाय नमः। ओम स्वात्मा राम महामतये नमः। स्वात्मा राम महामतये नमः। ओम हाटकाब जटाजूटाय नमः। ओम हासोदस्तारिमण्डलाय नमः। ओम हालाहलोज्ज्वलगलाय नमः। ओम हार्दग्रंथि विमोचकाय नमः। हार्दग्रंथि विमोचकाय नमः। Om Shri Medha Dakshinamurti Swamine Namaha.
Om Shri Medha Dakshinamurti Swamine Namaha.
Om Shri Dayananda Sadgurave Namaha.
Om Shri Dayananda Sadgurave Namaha.
Om Shri Maheshananda Sadgurave Namaha.
Om Shri Maheshananda Sadgurave Namaha.
Okay. The flame lasted just enough. I didn't put enough oil in it. Okay, let me try it one more time. And if not, then we just do it with my...
You have the Wi-Fi, right?
Yes. I mean, I have it in that bag because that's the Verizon.
I'm talking about your tablet.
Yeah, the tablet
It's connected to Wi-Fi.
should be. I mean, I haven't changed anything. Let me try it one more time. Did it turn on? Oh, yeah. Nope.
Try input. I think it's an input 2. Just try one thing and then
Because this one is showing that it's broadcasted to SV conference.
I just want to change the input.
Oh, okay.
If you switch off and on the Wi-Fi thing on board,
Yes. Not sure how do we change the input on this. It's complicated remote.
Okay, in the meantime, let me get ready to. All right.
No?
No? It's okay.
Yeah.
We'll do without it. So last time we did up to verse number 22 in the Karika of the Advaita Prakaranam. So let us do this. Let us chant, starting with verse number 22, And hopefully we'll go all the way up to number 27. I'm at least prepared to go that far. So we'll chant from Karika number 22 to Karika number 27. Number 22. Swabhavenamrito yasya
स्वभावेनामृतो यस्य
bhavo gacchati martyatam
भावो गच्छति मर्त्यताम्
kritakenamritastasya
कृतकेनामृतस्य
katham sthasyati nischala
कथं स्थास्यति निश्चयः
bhutato vapi
भूततो
भूततो
वापि
सृज्यमाने समाश्रुतिः
सृज्यमाने समाश्रितिः
निश्चितं युक्तियुक्तं च
निश्चितं युक्तियुक्तं च
तत् यत्तद्भवति नेतरत् नेह नानेति चाम्न्यायात् इन्द्रो मायाभिहित्यपि
इन्द्रो मायाभिरित्यपि
अजायमानो बहुधा
अजायमानो बहुधा
मायया जायते तु सः
मायया जायते तु सः
सम्भूतेरपवादाश्च
सम्भूतेरपवादाश्च
No, I think there's no sh. So it's sambhuterapavadaach sambhavah pratishidyate
सम्भवः प्रतिष्ठियते
konvenam janayediti karanam pratishidyate
कारणं प्रतिष्ठियते
sa esha neti netiti
स एषा नेति नेतीति
व्याख्यातं निह्नुते यतः सर्वम् अग्राह्य भावेन हेतुनाजं प्रकाशते
हेतुनाजं प्रकाशते
सतो हि मायया जन्म
सतो हि मायया जन्म
युज्यते न तु तत्त्वतः
युज्यते न तु तत्त्वतः
तत्त्वतो जायते यस्य
तत्त्वतो जायते यस्य
जातं तस्य हि जायते
जातं तस्य हि जायते
So here, as you know, the topic So the topic of the Advaita Prakaranam, as you know, is the very difficult to grasp, but highly beneficial understanding of what Advaita means. And not an easy problem to solve. And the interesting thing is that the problem is not there. There's nothing to solve. It is already there. But our predisposition and our orientation towards life makes it difficult for us to grasp it. So it is praptasya praptihi. It is done, already finished. Nothing to be done. Many people, for example, would ask the acharyas that this is very difficult, I don't know how to understand it. So they'll say that this is not like climbing a mountain. You know, if you have to climb a mountain, you say, you know, I'm getting old, I can't do it, I can't even go this, that or the other. That part is okay. But if you're already done, if it's you are where you want to be, then it's a different kind of an effort required. And it really is just a mental effort. It's a mental effort that you have to just do. So in the part of the mental effort, what happens is that our orientation is towards Dvaita. We know how to deal with multiple objects, various situations in our life. We know how to do that more or less. And that's how we solve problems, that's how we make progress and so on. And to say that there is no problem, you have to just think about the fact that there is no Dvaita, this is Advaita, is not easy for the mind to grasp. Not easy. And so, for instance, just one aspect of that, our entire assumption in life is that we began sometime. We started. We took birth. And of course, what that means is that when you assume that you took birth, and it is just a normal, healthy way to understand that I have taken a birth, and with it comes the entire issue that if I'm taking a birth, then I will die, that I'm going to change. All the rest of it just follows along with it. But the main thing is that I am born. I'm definitely born. There's no question about it. What are you talking about that I am unborn? There's no question about it. This is the issue. And so I don't even want to listen to someone. We did this in the Tuesday night class in the Dakshinamurti Stotram. Same issue. It's sort of interesting that it's the same topic but different ways. So there, those of you that were there would recall, and it would be useful to repeat it for in this context, is that it's exactly like I think that there is a snake when in fact there isn't. It's just a rope. So I'm very busy in trying to kill the snake. Now, I gave you example in my life where also there was a real snake in my garage, and I had to find a broom to make sure that I keep it away from me. So it's exactly the same. If you think there is a snake, then in the corner of somewhere, then you want to kill it. So another person says, no, there is no snake. This is just a rope. And while that teaching is not teaching, but while that advice is being given, that what are you doing? There's no snake. You're not listening to it. You're not listening to it. You're saying, no, but I need to find a broom. The person says, you don't need to find a broom. Why are you looking for a broom? He says, don't bother me. Okay? I'm afraid I've got to do some things. I've got to kill this thing. And so this is our situation. This is where the Advaita Prakaranam is actually, this is just an expanded form of this issue. Why? Because Advaita says there is no Dvaita. Shruti says there is no Dvaita. You are exactly what you are unborn. Whereas we all say, you're not listening to the fact that I'm unborn. You're saying, well, now that I'm born, the question is, how do I get to state? He says, you are not born. You're not listening. You're saying, no, I know, but the question is, how were we born? You were not born. No, but the thing is that others say this, and so this is very obvious that I was born. This is the situation. This is the situation we have. Exactly the same situation. So these expanded set of verses is really giving you a sample of this kind of a dialogue. And I remember Swami Dayanandji had made this statement one time which sounded funny at that time. I mean, it was a good joke, but I think I can see the truth of that. And what he said was that teaching Vedanta is a very funny situation where the teacher sees no problem and the student sees no solution. And he says, how can we talk to each other? This is exactly like this. Person is saying, do not look for a broom. You don't need to. And then you're saying, you're delaying me. I want to find out where is the right broom. Where is a stick? And he says, you don't need a stick. This is exactly what is happening. So these verses are in giving you a glimpse of this kind of a dialogue. This is exactly what is happening. So we studied quite a bit up to last week. I mean, when we did the verse number 22. Now let's continue with that dialogue. I won't really repeat any of that. That revision is already done. So let's start with verse number 23. Okay. So in verse number 23. See, now you can see the glimpse of this kind of a good dialogue that is happening. Okay, where there is no shraddha, no belief towards the unbornness of the Atma. And so the Purva Pakshi, doubter, the question says, wait a second. I see that the Vedas itself talks about birth and death. So don't tell me that I am a weirdo. Your own scriptures talks about birth and death. And so there must be a birth. How can it not be a birth? So the answer to that is this verse number 23. So Swami Maheshananji, this is one of the things that the people who are giving us the commentary on these verses do very well. This is what he calls Sangati. Sangati means that sometimes you see a verse and you are not sure why the verse is there. So to the Sangati is where the commentator has to provide you with the answer. And this is the question that Swami Maheshananji had posed. That I see Vedas itself talking about birth and death. It's not there in the verse, but it answers that unspoken question. See? And so to answer that, verse number 23 is given. He says, Bhutataha abhutataha va api srijyamane samashruti. Bhutataha abhutatopi vapi srijyamane samashruti. So just look at the first line. It says, you are right. I won't deny that the Shruti does talk about birth and death. It's obvious. You can read any of the books and then they will they'll talk about this, that, so on. Why does it do that? So verse number, Gaudapadaji says that on verse number 23, that Samashruti, he means that yes, the Shruti talks about birth and death and also talk about no birth and no death. So it is the same in both cases. Yes, we agree with that. Okay? But what it is there is a difference between bhutataha, abhutataha. Bhutataha and abhutataha vapi. What does that mean? Bhutataha means, actually there are 3 levels of this. So let me give you the 3 levels. Just a reminder, and I think by now you should be very familiar with the technical language of, this is an advanced class, you should be very familiar with it. So, one of them is what is called Parinamavada. Parinamavada means the one where there really is a change. So the example of Parinamavada is a milk turning into yogurt. There is a change. And the change is such that once you turn milk into yogurt, you cannot go back. You cannot say, oops, let me go back to milk. Once it is changed, it is changed. This is called Parinamavada. Okay? And so one interpretation of Bhutataha is that Bhutataha is Parinamavada. But there is another kind of change which is called Vivartavada. And the Vivartavada, as you know, is where there is a change without a change. And so here, the clay becoming pots, the gold becoming ornaments is Vivartavada. So Vivartavada means there is kind of like a change, but not a real change. And the not a real change means that if you say oops, there you can go back to the original form. You can, if the ornament has not turned out to be good, then you can go back to the gold again. Because it is not a real change. Okay, so these are the two direct interpretations of Bhutataha, Abhutataha. And yet there is a third kind of a change. And that is what is called Paramarthika. And so the snake and rope is that kind of a change. How is that different from Bhutataha? Because at least Abhutataha means that at least there is some change in the gold. Technically speaking, you can say there is a change. There was a lump of gold here with no form, and there is some gold with some form. So there is a change. Whereas in seeing a snake in a rope, there is really no change. It's completely an imagination. It's not as though the rope itself has turned into a form. So this is what is called Mayika. Mayika means that it is just doomed. You cannot even analyze it. You can't even go into a research to say, how did I see a snake instead of a rope? What are the psychological aspects of it? How does the mind change? What are the dynamics of it? You cannot do that. You just made a mistake, that's it. Do not ask questions about the Maya. This is Mayika means it is done by Maya. This is my power to imagine things. And you cannot say, why did I imagine? You imagine, this is your power, that's it. The main thing is that it is false. There also, this is exactly what this verse number 23 is saying. 23 is saying, Bhutato abhutato vapi srijyamane samashrutihi nishchitam yukti yuktam chat yat tad bhavati na itarat. So he says the main thing is you have to figure out whether by yukti and by your experience, whether that change has really happened or not. The appearance of the change is the same in both cases, but you now have to follow through. So in the case of a rope and a snake, some examination of the rope will say that this was false. So therefore, the crux of this argument is that you cannot say that the Shruti has talked about birth and death So therefore there must be really birth and death. No. The Shruti has simply said that there are appearance of birth and death. But in reality you have to see what is the real thing. So here, as you know very well, and we will continue to discuss it, this is an important thing to just keep in mind, really. Because, again, this is the same old dialogue, I was telling you about, where you say, I'm looking for a broom to kill the snake, and the person says there is no broom, there is no need to do it. In that dialogue, it is important to see that the Atma, the Self, has undergone no change in all of my history. No change whatsoever. You are always fresh for experiences. And the experiences are manifold, serious sometimes, apparently very serious. We talk about people getting cancer and dying, and it's serious. You have funerals. In all and through, there is no change whatsoever. This is the situation. And Swami Maheshananji has pointed this out. He cites a dialogue between Adi Shankara and his mother. A dialogue between Adi Shankara and his mother. And he is teaching his mother. He says, Mother, do you know you have been a mother for millions of kids before? You are still the same. You are just as concerned about me as your son, as you were. You are always the same person. There is no change in you. You were never born. You don't consist of something which is bornable, which is birthable. No. This is the situation. That really you are the same that you have always been. But we don't accept that. He says, what? I don't know. What are you talking about? This is the dialogue. So you have to now see that what is the truth behind it? Why is it that I don't change? But we snuff it out very quickly. Oh, I don't know, there's some theoretical stuff here and so on. The main thing is, how do I make my life happier? And so on. And the Shrutis say, wait, you're not listening to me. Are you listening to me? He says, yeah, I'm listening to you. I'm telling you, you are the same Atma. You are Parameshwara. You cannot change. And I am just looking for brooms. Really exactly what's happened. So anyway, just the dialogue here, number 23. So he says, it talks about it because in order to discuss it, in order to teach that the Atma is birthless, you have to first set it up. And setting it up means, yes, there are different kinds of births. And then there is Vivartavada. And then there is Parinamavada. There is Paramarthikavada. All of this you have to see. So just the appearance of the birth doesn't mean anything. You have to now analyze it. and prove it. So this is the reason for verse number 23. Here in discussing this, Swami Maheshananji spent like about 5 or 6 pages on this. He says that just the process of saying something doesn't mean anything. Like he gave 2 examples, very interesting examples. One example he gave is that, in part of taking Diksha, when you become a sannyasi, is to be given a mantra by the Guru who has given you the Diksha. And the mantra is Om Namah Shivaya, whatever it is. I never received it because I didn't become a sannyasi. But I'm told that the sannyasis are given a mantra. And so Swami Maheshananji says, by merely giving a mantra, you do not become a sannyasi. And actually this is the problem. People change their clothes, and if you've seen the ceremony, I don't know how many of you have seen the ceremony where they are taken to the edge of the Ganga, and then someone has put some clothing so that nobody can see them changing clothes. So when the women are given a sannyasi, then the women are the ones who protect this, and the men are the same way. And so then they wear a new cloth. And I've seen this so many times. Their faces are beaming. And they are newly born. And now they come out with Swami this and Swami that, Swamini this and so on. And you do namaskara to them, people give them some gifts and so on. Swamiji says this doesn't do anything. If you continue to have problems in your life, you have not become a Swami just by giving you a mantra. And similarly, he says the same thing is true when husband and wife get married. And so when husband and wife are given these 7 peras and so on, and so now I pronounce them, exchange the ring, husband and wife. Everybody claps, oh wonderful, yeah, congratulations, blessings, blessings, blessings. No. Because supposing the man is still looking at other women as desirable objects and doesn't look upon his wife in any kind of a thing, he doesn't deserve to be called a husband and wife. As in nothing has changed. You are still going around and you just somebody who is there with you to cook your food and so on and so forth. Doesn't mean anything. Swami Maheshanji says this. So this is exactly like this. Just saying that there is a birth. You can say it, but there is no birth. You have to, both in the cases of the Swamis and also in the case of the wife and husband, you have to now make it real. Then alone you should be called a husband and wife. Otherwise, or a Swami. Otherwise it doesn't mean anything. So therefore, the simply citing a birth, it doesn't really mean anything. You have to really examine what is the nature of the birth. So that is the reason for verse number 23. Okay, let's go to the next one. The main verse that I want to get to, I hope I will have time to that, is number 27. That's an important verse, so I want to... in verse number 24, this dialogue is going on between a person who defends Advaita and a person who has doubts about Advaita. So in number 24, it says, again the Sangati is given by Swami Maheshananji. He says, okay, I see the yukti, the logic of what you are saying. I see that. Bhutatopi, abhutatopi, whether it is one or the other, I can see that. But does it ever say in the Shruti that Atma is Advaita? Forget about yukti. I want shruti. What are you talking about? The answer is the whole shruti is talking about nothing but Advaita. So he is given all this. Na iha iti kinchana. Na iha iti kinchana. Means that, so this is an interesting thing. Na iha, neha. Neha consists of na iha. So, iha means right now, this one, your experience. It doesn't say that there will be Advaita later. It says right here, this is Advaita. Na iha nana asti kinchana. There is no real Dvaita. There is no real plurality. It is all one. And you have to just understand it. That's all that you have to do. So here that is there. Then the next one is Indraha Maya Bihiti Pururupa Iyate. This is another, I think this is from Brihadaranyaka. So he says Indraha Maya Bihi Pururupa Iyate. Indraha means Ishvara here, not the king of heaven, but here it refers to Ishvara. And Ishvara becomes from one to many by Maya. By his own Maya Shakti, he appears as many. Just like in the case of an ocean, or in the case of the room space, it appears as many. But there is no change whatsoever. And so in the case of an ocean where the water becomes a wave, that also is what? That is also the same as Vivartavada. Ocean, the water becoming a wave is also Vivartavada. Because it is just like gold becoming ornaments. There is no change in the water. The dynamics are slightly different. And one should see that I am the same way. I am like a wave. In fact, if you just close your eyes and just do a very quick meditation on this. I appear to be a wave. And what that means is that I appear to have a particular personality, a wavy personality, changing personality, but a personality which is complex, is variegated, has lots of parts to it. There is some body, gross body, physiology. There is subtle thoughts. There is some immediate knowledge of things, ignorance of things. Whole ball of wax. This is what I take myself to be. Instead, what I should take myself to be is to recognize that I am an ocean of consciousness. Ocean of consciousness. I should visualize that. In an ocean of consciousness, which is never born, which is always there. This is not difficult to see. I can just appreciate this. My personality, the parts of me as a jiva, is changing, never stable, continuously in motion. Hard to understand, difficult to ascertain. And it has a birth, and surely will have a death. But the ocean of consciousness is totally different. There is no personality without the ocean of consciousness. Whenever I am as a personality, I can see I am also the ocean of consciousness. When the personality takes a rest and in fact tends to be submerged at night, I am still the same ocean of consciousness. Ocean of consciousness which cannot be born. The entire lives of everyone is this ocean of consciousness. This is Brahman. This is Parameshwara. This is Ishvara. I am just imposing my own personality based on that, like a wave. There is no ultimate truth of the personality. One should not even bother about it. That is just for transactions. the sooner I ascertain that I am really just the ocean of consciousness, the better off I will be. Like a wave is told, hurry up before you disappear, recognize you're not a wave anyway. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So in verse number 24 it says, what are you talking about? The Shruti is all over. You don't challenge me and say that the Shruti, where does the Shruti says it? Na iha nana asti indraha mayabhi pururupa iti iyate ajayamano hi bahudha mayaya jayati tu saha. All over. Just listen and just read. Anyway, verse number 25. In verse number 25 it says that in fact a allegiance and a commitment to anything which is born ultimately has to be given up. And in order to point out this point, the Shruti says, Sambhute apavadacha sambhava pratishidyate. So here the word sambhuta, sambhuti means samyak bhuti. Samyak bhuti means one which has had a very prominent birth. Very prominent. And so here there are two interpretations of this, as Swami Maheswaranji has pointed out. One is that Sambhuti refers to Hiranyagarbha, Brahmaji, the very first born of the whole universe, from which everything else comes, Hiranyagarbha. And the second interpretation is that it refers to the Aishwaryam of Ishvara. Really both are the same, we're very similar to, they're not different things. So Aishwaryam means that the glory of Ishvara as the world. So in both cases, if you are committed to it as the final aim, that is not good. That should be used as a stepping stone. You should do your bhavana, your meditation, your bhakti, your love, so that you get to the bhakti of the self, the understanding of the self. This is what it is pointing out. Sambhutehe apavadacha sambhavaha pratishidyate. He says even in the case of Hiranyagarbha, who was definitely born as the very first manifestation of Ishvara in this kalpa, that also is really not born. So the ultimate objective for you is to really keep your emphasis on unbornness and not even on sambhuti. So he says there is a criticism that don't just stop it. And so in Kenopanishad also, for example, he says, Na yaditum upasate. So in this is an important thing for us to be absolutely be internalized. That in Vedas there are three portions. So Karma Kanda, Upasana Kanda and Jnana Kanda. I can immediately sense where this has gone off. So the Karma Kanda and the Upasana Kanda are not independent competitors to Jnana Kanda. They are on the way to Jnana Kanda. And here Swami Maheswaranji is so articulate in pointing out, he says, here's the situation. You cannot say that if Karma Kanda and Upasana Kandas are not the real thing, Jnana Kanda is the real thing, then I don't want to do anything with them. I want to go straight to the Jnana Kanda. He says that doesn't work either. Because it is exactly like, you get married but you have no understanding of what a husband and wife really are, how to respect the other person, and so on and so forth. You have to go through the motions. Karmas are very important for you to develop a softness of your own personality. And this is exactly why marriages and having children are important, because with the marriage comes ability to become sensitive to at least one other person. And the person is raving and ranting at you, you should just listen. And not, just be quiet. You don't do that with anybody else, but when the spouse is there, that teaches you a lot of discipline, and children is the same way. And once you do the karma, then you develop a certain appreciation and love. That's where the upasana comes in. So until, this is kind of like they're saying, it's like a lump of salt. For the lump of salt to dissolve in the ocean, you have to become soft. You cannot suddenly become from a lumpy salt lump into a water. You cannot do that. It has to slowly melt away. So the Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda are both important. Upasana Kanda are important for Jnana Kanda. But it is just an intermediate stop. So that's all this verse number 25 is saying. Then number 26. And it follows through the same reasoning of number 25 and 26. He says, Saha esha neti neti iti vyakhyatam nihunate yataha sarvam agrahya bhavena hetuna ajam prakashate. He says that ultimately the Shruti is saying ajam prakashate. The thing that it is pointing out is that the truth is the ocean of consciousness that is never born. And how does it prove that? It proves that through a method. It's called upaya. And upaya, so Maheswaranji translated, he says he was quite well acquainted with science, by the way. I never knew him when he was alive, but from his writings, I could tell he understands E is equal to mc squared. He understands a lot of the philosophies of the West, the Christian philosophies. He's a very well-read person, amazing. So there he says that in chemistry, there is a thing called catalytic agent. Catalytic agent. Huh?
Magnesium oxide.
So the catalytic agent means that it is not the final one, that it makes things happen and disappears. And he also gave the example that sometimes in mathematics also, you add a 5 or some number to complete an equation, then you take it away. Something like that. So there, when it says neti neti, this is a very important thing important analysis. Na iti adesha. So na iti is repeated twice. Na iti. First one is the Sthula Sharira. Second one is the Sukshma Sharira. And Swami Meshananji says just the repetition also covers the Karana Sharira. So, na iti means first you say, do you see the physical world? Yes. That physical world does not exist. Then why did you point out the physical world? Because your drishti is towards the physical world, so I have to say, see what this, it's just like saying, do you see this snake? And you say, yes, that is not a snake, it is a rope. Similarly, once you say, okay, I understand it, but maybe I should, my thought should be real. Naiti, even the thoughts are also not there. And so the ultimate commitment is towards ajam prakashate. Saha esha neti neti iti vyakhyatam nihnate yataha, because it is taken away, sarvam agrahya bhavena, one which is not really grahya bhavena. Because grahya bhavena means as an outside thing, something that you can grasp and you can see, you can hold on to. The Atma is not like that. That is the whole essence of the first verse of the Dakshinamurti Stotra. Vishwam Darpana Dishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantargatam. And so I remember when Swami Dayananji had pointed this out, he says, where our orientation is to look for myself as something which is experienced outside. This is the trick. You'll never have a experiential outside. You will already be there as an agrahya bhavena. And so that is what is being pointed out in the number 26. And another thing that is Swami Maheshananji has discussed here and other places also, that sometimes there is criticism that the Shruti uses one kind of method here and a different kind of method there. This is what is called prakriya. So, for example, the prakriya of looking at self as a enclosure, like a room space. This is one kind of prakriya. So, another kind of prakriya is when you're looking at a reflection in the mirror. That's another kind of prakriya. So, is there a prakriya which is better? Swami Maheshanji has pointed out elsewhere also in the various Shrutis, no. Whatever prakriya works for you, the main thing is that you have to understand the final point. Everything else is an upaya. They're all catalytic agents. Doesn't matter very much. So don't get hung up on, here the Shruti says the Panchikaranam, and in Chandogya it is Trivid Karanam. Then how can these two don't agree on it and so on? There are various methods to say the same thing. The main thing is that agrahyam alone is the number 26. Okay? You have to go. I know. So you'll miss the important verse. You can listen to it some other time.
It is being recorded, right?
Yeah.
Even though it's...
Yeah, it's been recorded. And I'll send you the notes also. Now let's come to the important verse number 27. Sato hi mayaya janma yujyate natu tattvataha tattvato jayate yasya jatam tasya hi jayate. So the English translation of that: for an ever-existent one, if birth is possible only apparently and not really, for an ever-existent one, birth is possible only apparently, not really. Whatever is born, if you say that it is born, then for that person, it is born again and again. It's difficult to grasp this, but so sato hi mayaya janma yujyate natu tattvataha. Satahi means that of the sat. The sat means who is self-existent, or the self-existent self. It is only possible through Maya, not tattvataha. I'll explain this in just a second. I'm just giving you the word meaning. And then the second line I'll take up later on. Okay. So the explanation is that one which is already there, it cannot be born. It is there. Only a thing that is not there can be born, but a thing that is already there cannot be born. There is one example that Swami Maheswaranji gives. He says that happened to me also one time. He says that I wrote a letter to someone, and I put this in the envelope. I put stamps on it and so on. And then I got busy. And then after a day or so, I said, I wonder if I posted the letter. And he had some doubt, and he asked someone, did I give you a letter to post? And the person says, no. So he says, I don't know where it is. So he looked around, he couldn't find the letter. It's not there. Not there. And one day, he had a bunch of books that he had piled up. And when he was taking the book away, it was right in the bottom of the book. And he says what happened was that someone in the house who was cleaning, she found this letter on the, and she put it there and put some books on top of that, and it got hidden. Now, he says that and so for a while I even had a doubt. Somebody asked him, he says, are you sure you wrote the letter? He said, I know I wrote the letter. I know exactly I wrote the letter. This is exactly the situation. People have doubts whether the letter was there to begin with or not. It was already there. But somehow it got lost. Same is the situation for the Atma. Because people will say, is Atma really there? You see, this is a very peculiar situation. We test out things by our ability to grasp them. Whether a thing is there or not is only possible if I can see it, I can hear it, I can smell it, I can touch it. If I cannot do any one of them, I conclude it is not there. There is one exception to this, and that is the person who is searching. He's already there. So it is very natural to doubt. How can you say that the Atma is there? Because you yourself tells me that it is agrahyam. You cannot think about it. You cannot talk about it. Nothing. You can talk about it, but you cannot. Nothing is not possible. So maybe it is not there. So maybe all this talk about Brahman, etc., is not there. This brings up a very important concept which I have not seen being presented in such a clear way as this time. In fact, the very terminology that is used by Swami Maheshananji, I had not seen this before. I'd seen the concept, but not the terminology. He says that there is a word called, I'm sorry I cannot see that, I'll send it to you in my notes. It's called Karya Lingam. Karya Lingam. So Karya Lingam means, Karya means an effect, something which is grahya, an effect. Like for instance, you see leaves moving. You don't see the wind, but you infer that the leaves are moving not because somebody is shaking the tree, but no one is shaking the tree. There is a wind that you cannot see. So the leaves moving are what is called Karya Lingam. Lingam means, as you know, we've already seen that, Lingam means the one which is an indicator. Lingam means lingyate, jnayate, anena iti lingam. This is the definition of the word lingam. Means an indication, some kind of an indication. So here, there is an indication that it is a windy day. When you look outside and it says, wow, it is very windy. Very windy. You don't see the wind, but you can infer from the effect of the wind. So this is a pramana. This is an absolute thing. So now comes some important things. I think I can cover this in the next 5-6 minutes. You can see this. So imagine a person who is blind. Who can tell? Can anyone other than the blind person say that I am blind? That there is blindness? No. You may look like a blind person. You may actually have, dark glasses, and then you got a stick and so then you can infer that it looks like it's a blind person. I better be careful. He's crossing the street. But you don't know. The person may be able to see very well. He's just pretending. You have no idea. But there is one person who can tell whether I'm blind or not. That is that person. No one else can tell. Okay, that I am. This is Karya Lingam. Means that I know that I cannot see. And here Swami Dayanandji, this is one of his famous jocular things. He just used, and every time he talks about it, we all just laugh with him. And he said, when he first came to this country, people said, Swamiji, you have come here for some talks, but we want to give you a complete medical checkup. Because this is a very advanced country. It has all the best medical help and so on. You're here from India. So we're going to get you completely tested, this, that, or the other, including your eyes. So we want to see whether your spectacles are the right ones or not. They've got latest technology in America. They've got all these machines. So he said, wow, wonderful. So he goes there, then he sits down. And there are all these beautiful machines, they all surround you with it and so on and so forth. So he was very impressed. Then the doctor comes in, optometrist comes in and says, do you see this line number 3? Swamiji says, you tell me whether I see or not. Why are you asking me? Swami Maheshananji makes a joke on this same point, same one. He says, every time I go for something like this, I feel like give me half of the fee that I'm giving you. Because I'm also helping you with this. You are completely dependent on me. How does it... Swamiji says that I come out of an exam unsure of whether I did the right thing or not. Because sometimes the E on the number 4 is look better than the number 5. And I says, I made a mistake. I want to go back again. The idea is Karyalingam. Karyalingam means only the person can tell from the effect whether you are able to see, not see, all those kinds of things. Only by the effect. But the appearance of it doesn't really change anything. It can be anything. Swami Maheshanji gave this very interesting example. He says this story is famous amongst the Mahatmas. That's what he says. So the story is about a person who gets all these rituals done in his home, pujas. So you invite a pandit and he does all the havans and so on and so forth. So he and his wife are misers. They give the minimum amount of dakshina. And they are such greedy people. This is the story. They are such greedy people. It must have happened, I cannot tell. They look for a pandit who is very thin. Because what happens is that you have to give him food, and they are only preparing a limited amount of food and so on. So if they go to a pandit who is nicely built and so on, they say this guy will eat all of our laddus and all of our barfis and puris and so on. So they look for a very thin pandit. So they went to this, they interviewed the pandits. And one of them is that, you know all the mantras? He says, yes. How much do you eat? So this thin person says, I'm a thin person. What am I going to eat? He says, okay. Tomorrow you are the one who is coming out. This fellow comes in and he cleans up their entire food. There's nothing left. And the wife and the husband are both saying, you selected him, and so on and so forth. This is called Karyalingam. Karyalingam means just by assuming that the person is thin, you cannot tell. And Swami Maheshanji gave another very beautiful example. He said, I still have another few more minutes. The main thing, I have not even come to it yet. So anyway, so he says one time there was a governor of a state. His name is Dr. Hukam Singh. I don't know where he came to visit and to give his pranams to Swami Maheshanji. He was accompanied by two people. One was a woman and one was a well-dressed secretary. And the name of the well-dressed secretary, by the way, is Kapoor. He says Kapoor Sahab also came as he's the secretary of the... This woman who came, so this governor of course was, well-dressed and the regalia and so on. This woman was poorly dressed and really was, from her outside appearances, it seemed like she was kind of like a household help. And he was not sure why she was there. So Swamiji says that I greeted the person and so on and so forth. And then I didn't pay much attention to this woman. This secretary, Mr. Kapoor, was a very wise man. He knew that he is mistaking this. So he says, sir, I would like you to introduce Governor Hukam Singh and his wife. He says, my God, I thanked Mr. Kapoor. He says, if you had not told me, it's called Karyalingam. Karyalingam means you cannot assume anything. You have to really look at something to see. Okay, so this is the thing. Now, Atma Tattvam, the truth about ourselves, can only be known by Karyalingam. What do we mean by that? It means like you cannot see Vayu, you can only see the effect of the Vayu. But do you ever doubt that there is Vayu? No one can tell you that. But you have to see that there is Vayu. Similarly, the Atma Tattvam, you may not be able to see the Atma. You don't need to see the Atma. But you see all the effects of it. That really speaking, your personality is nothing but an evolution of yourself. You are the ocean of consciousness. No personality is possible without consciousness. Because the personality also is moving, hands are moving, seeing. Where is that coming from? By itself it is jada. It is inert. Where is the light of the movement? Where is the jnanam for the mind? Where is it coming from? Karyalingam. Anyway, this is the important concept and we will build on it. I don't have much time today, but this is really a very important thing. That really, I don't need to look at the Atma, but I can see what is the one that is making things move. What is the truth about things? And if I do that and I just follow the wisdom of it, the purity, the truth about it, you find that I have no doubt about Atma Tattva. And once I have that, then my personality softens, then my ability to see that I am nothing but the ocean of consciousness improves. And all the rest of it follows. So this is not necessarily included in the verse number 27, but this I admire Swami Maheshananji utilizing the opportunity of the verse number 27 to educate us about Karyalingam. Beautiful. So with that I close today's class and we will continue on. Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahisha Go Brahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanya Prithvi Sasya Shalini Desho Yam Shobharahita Brahmana Santu Nirbhaya Sarve Santu Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Sorry. Yeah. Vikram.
So I understand the concept of the Karyalinga, but the examples you gave were in the negative sense, right? That you are mistaken in your assumptions. So it looks like maybe I missed something.
Yeah, you're right. I think that the examples need to be stretched a little bit to. What it means is that, so the example of the
The governor,
of the
governor and his wife.
governor and his wife. So in that example, what it means is that we should not have some preconceived notions. Okay? Only when I see the truth, I realize that I was devoid of the truth. I was devoid of the truth because of my assumptions. So just like I was assuming that this is not his wife, because she doesn't look like a lady of this governor's wife, is a mistaken. Similarly, I assume that I am not responsible for, I am not the basis of the world. Where I am the very adhisthana. I am the very ocean of consciousness from which my personality, on which my personality resides. This is my assumption. But only when I see it very clearly, when in his case, somebody introduced it, because that must have happened before. So he says he stepped forward and told me, by the way, please, this is his wife. Don't mistreat her. Don't just say you sit on the floor, you give her a chair also. So similarly, that also means that even though the evidence is there, but because of your preconceived notions, something like that would be an example. Yeah. But I think the one thing that we should all take away from this is that, we're often asked, do you think this person is a Jivan Mukta? This Swami, is a realized soul or not? No one can tell. No one. No one. Except that person himself. And he won't tell. He won't tell anyway. And so you can make all the assumptions about this. All you can say is that it looks very wise. But you look at many of the Swamis, they have hang-ups of one kind or the other. You can never tell. Just like you cannot tell whether the person is blind or not. Only the person who is blind can tell I'm blind. So the examples are of that nature. Yeah. You have a question?
I understand the concept that mind is jada, but I'm a little bit confused between jnanam and thoughts. Are they the same?
So the jnanam has two aspects to it. So one is the purity of the knowledge without having any, it's the very nature of the knowledge. The other one is the knowledge of a particular thing. Okay? So the pure knowledge, so Atma is pure knowledge. Pure knowledge means that it is the nature of, this is what is called Jnapti Swarupa. So I'll give you an example. So when you say that, if I ask you, do you know German? you'll say, I hope you don't know Germans. If you do, then you completely. But then you'll say, no, I don't know German. So I say, how do you know German? How do you know that you do not know German? You will say, I know that I don't know German. So I know is the pure knowledge, which is your own nature, which is there always. I know is there. But a particular aspect of that knowledge, whether you know a person or a language, is the other aspect of it. It is a dependent knowledge, something like that. Yes, sir.
You said something about linga, and I was trying to remember how you broke down the word linga. Can you repeat that?
So lingyate means jnayate. Jnayate, lingyate, anena. By this, it is called lingam, by which an indication is there. So even a signboard is sometimes called a lingam, because supposing you come to a fork, and one side says Los Gatos, and the other one says Oakland, then you know it's a lingam. If you know, it's not Los Gatos yet, but it is if you follow that. So Shivalingam is the same way. So Shivalingam is the one I'm meditating on, which one can see that I am Shiva. It's called Shivalingam, Atmalingam. All the other, in our prarthana at the ashram, they have all these different kind of lingams and so on. So that's the word lingam. Yeah.
So the existence of wind is shown by the movement of the tree. There's also a tatastha lakshana, right?
Yes. Yes, you can technically say, but the word tatastha is not used in that example specifically. I mean, you can stretch it to say that tatastha, but where it is used is Ishvara or anything else, who is the creator, sustainer, and dissolver. That is the tatastha lakshana of Ishvara. But the swarupa lakshana of Ishvara is one that never changes. And so the incident, it's an incidental power. So similarly, the flowingness of water is an incidental, that is a tatastha lakshana. But H2O is the swarupa lakshana. So that example, in the case of the wind and that, you can stretch it to say, but that's not an accurate way of, no. Yeah.
When you talk about Vivarta and Paramarthik Vada, are they the same or what's the difference between them? Because both don't go in any change.
So the change I said was that if you remember the difference between a gold and an ornament and a rope and a snake. So one can argue that there is some change in the gold because it is no longer a formless lump. It has become a formful ornament. So there is not really any change, but there is some change is there. In the case of the rope appearing as a snake, there is not even an iota of change in that sense. Yeah.
So another upaya of getting to the truth is also, as Swami Paramathananda in Mandukya Karika says, the screen. I am the screen which is untouched by all the projections on the screen. So would that fall under Paramathic or any of those?
No, that it would be a different concept. There is no So there it would be there it would be called adhisthana. Adhisthana and adhisthita. Adhisthita would be one which is based on the adhisthana. So the concept is slightly different. I mean, they all lead to the same thing. But the example of Paramarthika, it's interesting because,
The snake is projected.
yeah, I think it'll be more like the snake kind of an example. Yeah, I think that one can say that really. Because there is no change in the screen, and yet, for example, if there is a fire on the movie, it doesn't make the screen hot. So yeah, that would be called a completely Paramarthika Maika change. Yeah, not even a Vivarta change. That will be more like, yeah, I think I agree with that. Yeah.
But then what is the difference, Maika change and the Vivarta? Isn't that the same?
No, the Vivarta change, as I mentioned in answering to Surendra, was that there is not an imagination. There is an actual change of the gold becoming an ornament. Not an imagination, as it is in the case of the screen or in the case of the rope and snake. So yeah, there will be a slight difference.
I think there's a projection or superposition in both these examples that makes them similar.
Correct.